Hey, Courtney, who's today's episode supported by?
Colossal.
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 Colossal. Anyway, this episode is supported by Colossal, a brand new way to discover beats online. Colossal isn't live yet, but we've had an early preview and we're excited to tell you about it. Colossal lets artists gain exclusive access to beats from top industry producers. These are beats that are usually only reserved for major artists, and they're partnering with new producers every day. The Colossal app is the fastest way for artists to find beats that they love and make their best music. The app has a killer feature called Vibes, which is a totally new take on beat discovery. Just describe the kind of beats you're looking for, and Vibes gives you a personalized feed to scroll through, just like TikTok. We all know browsing on YouTube for beats can be a pain. Colossal also has simple licensing options, giving independent artists full ownership of songs they make with no complicated terms or restrictions. We'll tell you more about Colossal soon, but if you're a producer and interested in getting involved, check the link in the video description to get in touch with the Colossal team. Now, on to your episode. How about we type in, is Pro Tools the industry standard?
The industry.
And tell me what ChatGPT says.
Oh, we're shooting, by the way.
You ChatGPT it?
No, I'm
do it?
ChatGPT.
No.
Yes, Pro Tools is often considered the industry standard in professional audio production, particularly in music, film, TV, and post-production. Its robust features for recording, editing, mixing, and mastering audio have made it the go-to choice. However, alternatives like Logic, Ableton Live, and Avid's own Sibelius.
I never could say that
are
word.
also used depending on the specific needs of the project.
The nerve of ChatGPT. Do you truly believe this
though?
This that you spewed? She didn't bring up She didn't bring up FL. She put up Ableton though.
She really believes this. She just gave me 3 paragraphs of why she really believes this.
Wow.
Shout out ChatGPT.
So ChatGPT is saying that the way ChatGPT wrote it was, it is regarded as the industry standard. She didn't say it is. She said it's regarded as industry. Can you do me a favor?
Which is accurate.
Because I really want to have a conversation about this. Can you look up the definition of industry standard?
What's the definition
of industry standard? Like I'm very interested in this. Like I'm so interested in this conversation. I see this conversation.
While we're getting that,
Okay.
What's your intro? Yeah.
Welcome
This
to the studio.
right here.
Welcome to the My Studio Nerds podcast, the podcast for studio nerds like yourself. You know, I'm actually surprised that really rolls off like easy. I'm not having no issues.
It's just like, you know.
Yeah, it's good. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And also remember, one lucky person in the comment section is going to get that VIP Gold Edition Rosetta EQ or compressor. So leave a fire comment with your @name from Instagram so we can hit you and say, yo, you won.
And don't forget, you can also become a paid member. We have a bunch of great content. For example, members are seeing this first. You get money in the store, mix and mastering videos, live streams, the whole 9.
Live stream. Shout out to our live stream community. That I really look forward to that. Like for real. Our live stream community is crazy.
They're always going crazy.
OD. Shout out to Ohad for pulling up. Ohad been pulling up a lot. A lot of engineers been pulling up, which I'm going to start having more of those guests on, like the actual thing. But Ohad been pulling up a lot. Master engineer.
And this has nothing to do with...
He mastered one of our members' thing for free.
And this has nothing to do with anything, but I just had to say it because I just did some clips for an episode that we recorded that has not come out yet. But shout out Hollywood Cole, because he uses Ableton.
What episode did we find that out in?
Because you said
Coming
J.
soon.
Cole.
I thought it was J. Cole at one point.
They corrected you.
And they corrected him, right?
Yeah.
So the episode, I wonder if the episode...
I'm so sure. There's just like...
Who was it?
It has to be that corrected us?
Yeah.
I don't know who corrected
No,
us.
those are just a bunch of comments.
Levens told me about who, like, what the case was, but I don't know where it came from.
Okay, cool.
So an industry standard refers to a product, service, or practice that is widely accepted and used within a specific industry as the benchmark for quality, reliability, and effectiveness. For example, Pro Tools has historically been an industry standard in professional audio because it's the go-to tool in many studios, particularly like film, sound editing, large-scale music production, and
And what?
And no, I mean music.
It said music production?
Yeah.
Okay.
And mixing and mastering. However, the term industry standard does not necessarily mean that it is the best. It just indicates the most established and widely used choice within a given context.
Wow. So it just means basically it's which one is most established in the industry.
What I loved about that is that they included the balloon terms of product, service, and practice.
Right.
And reliability. And I think by that definition, yeah, Pro Tools is the industry standard.
Dang, for real? If it's the most widely used and adopted.
There's not a studio in America. There are very
few
studios in America where you won't find FL Studio.
So by definition, it would. Is it the industry by definition?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so by definition, draw your own conclusion, right? From that.
I don't think there's a conclusion other than Pro Tools because you cannot say that same sentence about any other DAW.
As far as like, what DAW does every single person know how to use?
Not every single person know how to use. But the industry is accepted widely as the most reliable, in a sense of you can send these sessions no problem to each other.
Damn.
It's the most widely used. I don't even want to say respect, but used, widely amongst shared, amongst professionals, amongst everyone. Like when it boils down to it, I think the market share of Pro Tools, even if we add just home producers and such, is still higher than anybody else.
Understood. What I will say is that does make me realize and say to myself, because in my head, when I hear the word industry standard, my brain used to, before hearing that definition, goes to the best. Right? Yeah. And in my head, I was like, no way. Pro Tools is not the best.
There's a lot of things that are industry standard that aren't the best. I would even go out to say the industry standard, this is going to be more debatable than the DAW one. But I would say the industry standard interface is UAD, the Apollo.
Okay.
The Apollo system, at least.
Not the best.
And you know what's so funny?
It is widely accepted.
And I'm about to say I agree with you on that.
Wow.
That's more debatable because there's more competition. There are more reliable pieces. Right. You can't say the same thing about every studio having a UAD. Some studios have Avid Matrix stuff.
A lot of studios still have the HDIO systems.
A lot of them still SSL. Like, you know what I mean?
Wow. So
I think that's there's only two hard industry standards that I can think of off top that I can confidently agree with. As much as I don't like Pro Tools, Pro Tools is the industry standard DAW, and Auto-Tune is the industry standard
pitch correction. So
those are the only two I can like confidently. Everything else is so debatable, it's not even funny.
So I'm glad that we're just having this conversation and kind of opening up the conversation because obviously we've seen a bunch of that stuff like online. Like I've been seeing it online. Shout out Bolo. I watched Bolo's video. I watched Barry John's video. I watched a lot of
Weaver talk about it too.
Weaver. Yeah, I watch all those guys and girls. Great content.
Right.
I'm a fan of all of them. And when I was watching it, it really made me sit, right, and think to myself, because obviously I'll be the first to tell you, being a Pro Tools user and being the Pro Tools user on this thing, I've said a million times how much I'm frustrated with my DAW and how I would love for this to change and all this other stuff, and even just having conversation with them like, yo, I really think this would be a great direction, blah, blah, blah.
At least y'all have MIDI effects.
Tight.
No.
So once again, just to preface that, if you're just new to the pod and stuff like that, I've aired out my grievances with Pro Tools in general. What made me think to myself as far as the industry standard conversation, I thought that was an interesting topic that people started to like touch on because it really started to make me think. I was like, well, there are other DAWs that I genuinely feel are better, right? In certain applications. Huh?
Which ones?
So it depends on what the scenario is. Production? I'm going to go with... Studio. So, okay, because there's a difference. As far as what I would prefer, I prefer Studio One. Let me finish, though. I've said it many times, I don't like the way Studio One looks. I can't stand the look, but I'm not going to lie. Used it, seen what they doing and stuff like that, like it. They're also owned by a music company.
It feels very similar to Pro Tools as well.
It feels, when I was creating templates in Studio One, back when I was the one doing it, as far as like, creating the iteration of Studio One when I couldn't find a Studio One guy to do it.
You're probably the only DAW that... I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay.
I'll say it after.
Okay. Yeah, Studio One, I realized after making the template, I was like, whoa, I didn't watch one tutorial. Like, I didn't notice, like, oh, snap. I navigated that, like, really well. And I was like, everything was pretty much the same. Like, the quickies. I didn't like their internal plugins. I thought to me, those were terrible. Like, the compressor and stuff. I was like, I did not like it. But as far as just like moving around and stuff like that, I was like, this felt mad familiar.
Natural.
So Studio One for me felt like I was using Pro Tools, but
you were at home,
but
not
mad,
Pro Tools.
mad bells and whistles production wise.
The only, I mean, aside from you, Audition, and Logic, everyone else is owned by a music company. Like
we're not owned by music. Well,
that's what I'm saying. You, Logic, and
Logic
and Audition.
So throw that out the window.
Are the only ones that aren't owned by music companies. The rest of us are either owned or are music companies.
True.
I'm about to say
at heart.
And then what do you mean by that when you say that you're not? Because I think there are people that would make the argument that Avid is not necessarily music. It's not its source. You know what it is? It's like Full Sail. Full Sail was founded upon recording arts.
Right.
But by the turn of the 90s, it kind of became the film school.
It did, yeah.
So I think it's the same situation with Avid, where it's like, well, it's an entertainment company, and that encompasses music.
Okay.
So what do you mean when you say like you're not owned? You don't think Pro Tools is owned by a music company?
Well, what I mean at the core of it is that obviously they got bought by that equity. I don't know if it's an equity firm, but they got bought, right? By the whole company got bought. Corporate. Like, I can feel it. Like, it's just
at that point.
So to me, I was like, I don't know if the people at the helm are music people that bought it.
Right now.
Because culturally, it's like you just don't exist. Like, once again, Pro Tools has not made a dent in their culture. Like, as far as everything is concerned. Like, even, I ain't gonna lie, I did not know Barry John brought that up where he said that they banned him from the DCU, the forums, like the forums and stuff like that. He said that they banned him from it. Which, if that's true, that's
whack. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know the situation, and I'm not trying to cause any. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of crazy. I was like, is that true? Like, did y'all ban him?
If that's the case,
but what I'll say is my opinion.
He had a lot of great takes. I'm not gonna lie.
But what I say about it is a lot of the things he was saying is like sentiments that, bro, we all everyone's felt this. Like, we all said these things.
I
Like,
don't mean nothing to reiterate it. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying. No, I'm just saying like we agreed with him. Like, there was nothing he said. There wasn't anything he said really.
Objectively, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I was just
well.
What?
You think objectively he was?
I'll put it like this. Say we talk. Now playing Cubase.
Oh yeah, he switched over to Cubase. Hey, don't do that to Cubase.
Knock it. Yeah.
Cause shout out Austin Hall. There's a lot of people that
I'm aware.
Shout out
You're right. I'm wrong. Yeah.
Dom Sagalis. Like, there's people that's killing Cubase.
Cubase is the man out like where TikTok is still legal. Cubase is the man.
That was such a great way to put it.
That was good.
That was such a
this guy
on one right now.
This guy's
bro.
just getting better.
This
But
bars.
to just here's my personal opinion as far as Pro Tools and stuff. There are a lot of things that I feel I would love for Pro Tools to fix. For instance, in the back of mine, the other day I seen that I was charged $312. I got confused. I said, "What the hell is this?" Looked and realized that it was a yearly Pro Tools subscription from a license that I had at the old studio. But it was a yearly subscription, so I didn't touch it for mad long. I forgot I had this license, and they hit me with it, and I was fuming because there was nothing I could do. You know what I mean? I knew I was like, oh, you can't get a refund on that.
Yeah.
I know a guy that knows a guy.
Maybe. I was fuming, and to me, it was one of those things where I sat there and was like, yo, bro, this is so annoying. I'm not gonna lie. The whole subscription, like, over time, correct. Like, as far as over time, that shit is annoying me.
I tried to tell you when we did our sound check episode.
I lost that, by the way. I lost.
I know you.
Respectfully.
And you admitted to it.
I lost.
But I'm just saying, like, over time, that
no way you're gonna win.
No headphones.
Yeah, but over time, that
gross.
That just adds up, which is insane. You know, FL, I paid $199 5, 6, 7 years ago,
and you're still using that.
Can I tell you something? Which is so crazy coming from a person that's not natively FL. One of my nephew the other day, he was like, what do you use to make beats? I promise before either of you or the internet get on me, and this is no shot to 12 and the home team, but I would never solicit to someone under the age of 18 Ableton as a starting DAW.
Oh no,
because $500 to $700 is
I disagree, but there's Ableton Lite, right?
Well, to be fair,
like that's a great. I'm not gonna lie, as much shit as I talk about, that is an amazing DAW to learn starting out. Now, whether you want to start recording or producing is two different things. However, I feel like it wouldn't be such an entry level piece if it wasn't
that
good.
Expensive.
No, if it wasn't good,
if it wasn't
like
okay,
people wouldn't be like, I wouldn't. there wouldn't be so many people using it so early if it wasn't good.
Right.
Over it. It has the best like hardware. Besides Machine, it has the best hardware to software
Exist with it, yeah.
connection.
Integration.
It's amazing, but FL is obviously the choice, bro.
As far as
which
entry,
is where
Honestly,
I went.
the entry level piece should be GarageBand to Logic. That's
like
the
that.
pipeline that makes the most sense
That
because
is
you can
true.
produce, you can record.
That is true.
It's
And you know what
fully
it was?
free and it's the same thing.
I like that.
Facts, right? And you know what it was? He didn't have a Apple product. So I went his route because of what I'll say, like you and me, what we knew already going into FL and stuff. Forgot where we've come from in the past 2 years, and I looked on the website for him, and I was like,
What, Ableton?
FL. I was like, standard edition, like, what was it, like 140?
Yeah.
I think. I was
Okay.
like, which is not bad, but I was just
That's
like,
amazing.
it
No.
used to be free.
Here's
type.
the thing. No, it's free. There's
Oh,
a
it
free
is free.
edition. There's
There's a
never
demo.
not the demo edition has always been free. The
Yeah.
standard edition wasn't free.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah, please reiterate.
I really want to reiterate too. With prices of everything, you are getting what you pay for.
That's a fact.
So I
Absolutely.
get it might be steep, but you are also getting something
Bro.
that is going to potentially allow you to talk about an asset that appreciates.
Yeah.
Like I've made that $199 back so
Oh,
much.
absolutely
It's not even
fast.
funny. I'm sure that you know what I mean. For a lot of people that pay for Ableton monthly are making that back daily. You know what I mean. So I do want to make that known. 149 is amazing for a dog.
Bro, I'm not
is.
gonna lie,
It
that's amazing, bro.
absolutely
is.
Because my DAW Perpetual was 700. Pro Tools was 700.
What's your DAW for an
Yours-
update?
Wait, what? What?
2 to 4.
2 to 4
Oh, so
for
they
an
you
update.
pay for updates too?
Absolutely.
Ableton.
Logic is
expensive.
$199. Like that's
One shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I gotta pay for updates on Logic?
No.
No.
Damn, I realized I never updated Logic. I downloaded it once and that was it. Because I got Logic on my
It
computer.
automatically.
I don't know what Studio One is. I know they just allowed everyone
pre-songs?
to get a free update to the new Studio One.
They
7.
should.
Yes.
That's the that's the
But
one
I feel
thing.
like they used to pay for it. If I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Like here's my thing. And maybe they had to fix this by now. But the backwards compatibility with Studio One,
Yes, that issue.
that used to make me so mad.
That came around, what, 5?
5,
Because then people have the 3 and 4 issue.
and they were like, "Yo, I can't open
4
3
and
sessions."
5.
And I
3,
was like,
4 and in
what?
5, yeah.
We were so confused back in HMD, like when
I'm
we
sorry.
was doing templates
Studio
heavy.
One, but Studio One also has a subscription.
What is it for?
I did
But
hear
what
something
is it?
about
I
that.
think it's the subscription. It's like y'all's though.
180. No, it's not. We don't have a subscription.
No, for your cloud services and
theirs
stuff.
is for the DAW.
The DAW itself.
180 a year.
180 a year.
You could buy a perpetual license, but if you want the
So how much is Studio One?
everything, $180 a year, $19 a monthly, or I'm gonna see what the perpetual costs.
Yeah. What the heck? Wait, I'm surprised they have a perpetual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
I
remember.
mean, a subscription.
Yeah, they have a subscription. It seems like a perpetual is $199 one time.
Yeah, because I remember I had to buy everybody
$20
Studio One at one point.
Or you get 20, but you'll never lose access to the version you purchase. If there's an update,
Then you gotta pay.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that.
$20 a month, all of that. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
He said maybe.
FL gives you free updates, one-time payment.
I don't know how y'all
Logic
sustain
gives you
it.
free updates, one-time payment. We doing it, bro.
I get it. No, I get it.
We've been the fact that FL has survived. Like,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be there's something where we're making money. So it's like,
Somewhere,
here's
yeah,
what it
somebody
is.
making. But you know what? Why I also think y'all
plugin,
making
yeah.
money because and I could be wrong, but I feel like they keep it tight as far as the team and stuff like that. I feel like they don't do too much.
It's not a big team, so they don't have a lot of people to pay for. I feel like the amount of
I don't know for sure.
hypothetically,
Right.
but if I had to think, I would think their partnerships with other brands. For instance, when you buy the Novation and it comes with FL, I'm sure they're getting a kickback off of that.
Type.
The FL Cloud now, new people buying FL every year, I think is enough to pay the people that work there.
Type.
Because I don't think it's a huge team.
I don't think it's a
You know
huge
what I
team
mean?
either.
So it's just like, hey, we're keeping it close. There's not a lot of us. Everybody, they can afford to keep it afloat.
Right. I think culture. Here's my thing. You know, obviously coming back to the whole industry standard thing. Now knowing the definition, I say to myself, okay, yeah, by definition, I can see where people be like, this is the industry standard. I'm like, cool. Is it the best? No. I'm not going to say it's the best at all. I'm not going to cape for it.
What is the best?
Huh?
What is the best then?
And what is Pro Tools the
Period.
best at?
Period. No. What is the best DAW
All
right now?
around?
Yes.
I'm gonna throw it to Logic.
Yeah,
all
agree.
around.
That's understandable.
I'm gonna throw it to Logic.
I want to say FL, but it's the best for me. It's not the best for recording.
Yeah,
yeah.
But also what I'll say about FL Studio is something that people don't realize is when, as a Pro Tools user, going to FL Studio, going, let me try this. It is such a different workflow brain-wise that it made me go, I can't wrap my head around it. As opposed to someone like you using FL Studio, going to Pro Tools, I totally understand why these kids are like, this is different or this is stupid. I don't understand. Because even just having a mixer window, like y'all just got that fake Logic pop-up window. Y'all didn't have a mixer window before?
We had a mixer window, but it's just that you had to go to a different screen, a whole different viewpoint.
Now you could just pop that thing
We couldn't
up.
look at the mixer window within our arrangement view.
Right, which was crazy.
Can't relate.
You literally can't.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
the
are
beginning,
other?
but you can't talk about your
so we
mixer.
can wrap it up with what are other industry standards in the music technology.
I was literally about to
Like I
ask
just
the
said,
question.
auto-tune being the industry standard, pitch corrector. Is there any other one? I don't think there's an industry standard mic. I don't think there's an industry standard.
I'm not gonna lie, that U87 was
U87.
the industry. So if we're saying that what microphone was massively adopted and used,
let's go back.
Let's Google
to
it, yeah.
I would my brain. I'm gonna throw out to you U87 because
And
at
so-
one point every studio I went
everyone
to
was using it.
was like, ooh, they got a U87. I'm good.
And it could be argued that, before that, the Shure SM7.
No, because
SM7
even if
B.
I'll say that, the C800 got the 7.
C800.
I'm not saying now. I think
okay.
the C800,
The industry standard
I think the
microphone.
No,
C800
all right, let's
came
go
off
back to
after
the-
the 87.
Can it be more than one industry standard?
No, that's
Yeah,
what
it changes.
So once again, an industry standard refers to the set of practices or guidelines or specifications that are widely accepted by professionals within a particular industry. These standards are typically established to ensure consistency, quality, safety, and efficiency across the entire industry. They may be set by regulatory bodies, industry associations, yada, 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 or a general consensus among industry players. I don't think the U87. No, I don't think that's,
You don't think so?
that's true. I don't think
so?
there can, because there's so many mics, and we all didn't agree that one is the right one. There's no, you know what I mean? Like Pro Tools is a general consensus. You know what? If you want to play it safe, Pro Tools is gonna have.
So
it.
the industry
So then, wait,
also,
hold
you
on,
said
hold on.
the industry decides.
in a sense, yeah, like kind of, you know what I mean? Whether we
And that's
agree
what I'm
or
about to
not,
ask.
it's just like it is what it is.
Just
so like
to-
auto-tune. I'm sorry.
Go,
to
no,
interrupt. Auto-tune is like, yeah, we know wave tune, yeah, we know meta tune, but it's just like
Auto-tune.
you
Shout out
can't
Metatune.
go. You know what I mean? The safest,
I see what
safest
you're
one,
saying.
the
Is auto.
most popular. You know what I mean?
I see what
Auto-tune.
you're saying, and I guess I would kind of say that, like, for me personally, I think that's the case now, because it's just like, what would you call the CL1B then?
See, and that's where I was gonna go.
There's no industry standard. I feel like when it comes to gear, there's nothing that's the last real industry standard piece of gear was the SSL boards.
Okay.
Like just having an SSL,
SSL board.
But once we
Neve.
once we adopted this idea of having so many options of anything, like there's no industry standard MIDI controller. Even though there might be one super popular one,
Right. Okay.
But it's just like there's so much, and you can get the job done with all of them. I think the industry standard idea for microphones is just get you a good condenser.
Sure.
That's it.
A good
condenser
condenser.
microphone.
condenser
is the industry standard for recording vocals.
Absolutely.
Recording mic. That's
For recording vocals, music vocals.
that's fair.
I gotta be very, very clear.
or
then-
instruments. A lot of instruments.
Yeah. That's
So then I have a interesting.
No. So see, here's what because I'll say there's nothing I enjoy more on guitars than ribbon microphones. You understand what
But
I'm saying?
it's standard though.
Is that the standard? I was about to say. Is
the
that what
Warrior-
is that what the masses are adopting?
So check this out for my instrumentalists or my people just recording engineers in general. The Warrior 121 and 122. Very popular
Microphones.
Damn near to me when I was younger was like the standard for guitar. When I was in school, they were like, just grab a Warrior. It's a microphone, grab a Warrior. It's a ribbon microphone, sounded beautiful. To this day, I haven't really heard too much about Warrior stuff, but I would still reach for that Warrior microphone or ribbon microphone for it. So it seems like the word, you know what I feel like can get blurry? Popular and industry standard.
Popular and standard.
Popular and standard. Because to
'Cause
me,
Sometimes they overlap.
They do overlap.
sure.
And I really wanted to, my fault to cut you.
No.
But I did want to bring up a great topic to actually close it on because I've been thinking about this since we actually introduced the topic. But industry standards are a thing. I don't relate to it from the same perspective with actually growing up inside an industry standard. You have Pro Tools.
Yeah.
LJ had FL, which, looking at it modern, now it's like a DAW industry standard to a degree. Now, what do you think about the concept of runner-up standards?
No.
And the reason why I ask that is because
those are just other.
true, right?
finish what
right,
you're saying, though.
right?
I'm gonna hear you,
so
hear
the
it.
reason I say that is because coming from the film world, I've always grown up media composer adjacent. I'm an Adobe Premiere Pro baby.
Me too.
But then I get into Full Sail, and I'm hearing for years. I get into my high school TV and video production class, and I'm hearing for the first time ever, oh, but Avid Media Composer is the industry standard.
It's the industry standard.
But then when I go onto YouTube and I'm looking up editing tutorials from way back in the mid 2010s, I don't see people using Media Composer.
Interesting.
It's Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
So I think there's a culture of like, if not the industry standard, what's the thing that everybody else is running to right under
He made
that?
a good point. Because from the high level side, Avid Media Composer, I always hear Avid Media Composer is the thing.
Is the industry standard.
When it comes to us in our, not our level, but just everyone else, I'm like,
Editing culture.
I
I feel like that's such a niche thing to whatever. Like, we don't have many examples of that in our world.
In the audio
in the film world, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Like, all right, the industry standard, the industry standard is this camera, but everybody was on the Reds.
The
for
right,
a bit,
the
so it's
Reds
like
were
you know what I mean? Shit like that. That
good
red, that's
point.
another combo.
That red,
But
I bought one, bro. I bought one.
Yes.
You
You sold
I was
one,
so
too.
proud. I did. I was very proud when I bought that red camera. I was like, I got a red.
There are very few industry standards that are branded in like the industry standard in audio for recording MIDI data is MIDI or MIDI 2.0
Yeah,
we're
which
doing
is-
updates.
yeah,
Cool.
updates.
But there are very few industry standards that I feel like are centered around one piece besides like Pro Tools being the brand. All right, this is the industry standard. But we don't have a mic. We don't have an industry standard compressor. We don't have an industry standard set of speakers.
Right.
There might but let's say industry standard for DJing is Serato.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Shit like that.
Tight.
So,
Absolutely.
That is, and that's,
it's
can I say
very-
why that's a good example? Because it is widely accepted because every club you go to, it's
yeah,
like I put-
Pioneer DJ with the
Serato.
Serato. So CDJ, you see shit like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't think there are much
Runner ups in that sense.
Yeah, there's there are.
Nice.
Well, I'll close it on this. I am all for conversation.
Yeah.
I'm all for perspective. Let me finish this, and I got you. All for perspective, and I'm also always for challenging things, right? Where I'm like, okay, cool, let's test this out. Let me talk to y'all because we all have different opinions about stuff, and let me see where it comes out. And also in the comment section, I want to hear it. I want to see what you think. I want to hear what you feel about it as far as the quote unquote industry standard.
Yes.
Definition. That's why I started this off. I'm like, let me see that. What's the definition of industry? Like, what does that even mean? I think we say it, and I never really thought to myself like, well, what does that really mean? Because in my head, being the Pro Tools user, I say to myself, well, everything that Barry John and Bolo and all stuff said, yeah, I agree. Like, I totally agree with them. But at the same time, I said to myself, okay, well, what does industry standard mean? Let me get to the bottom of what that term actually means, and so I can kind of perhaps formulate a better understanding of like where that. Like what this conversation is even about and stuff like that. So appreciate all those content creators for putting that out because thank you for throwing that conversation out into the ethos. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, here's a new philosophy.
Good convo.
Please clip this. I'm begging y'all. But here's a new philosophy. Courtney. I genuinely believe the industry standard only matters when it's something that may or has to be
Adopted?
No, has to be shared. Because the industry standard only matters when we have to share sessions with each other. But we don't have to share mics. We don't have to share. Now, clubs, they have to share, like, the same piece, the same shit. Industry standard for video viewing, HDMI. Why? Because we all might need to share this one screen, but we all might have different laptops. There's no industry standard laptop. You know what I mean? So when I look at it, like where we say Serato or where we say Pro Tools or where we say CDJs, Wave format.
Yeah.
So it's like these are things that have to be shared between each other, and that's why there's a standard that has to be adopted in some worlds. We just bring it here because that's the thing that happens in every industry.
Everywhere.
There has to be, in certain industries, there has to be a standard.
I get that.
Like in building, there has to be a standard on the screws, on which screwdriver.
Our sheetrock studs.
Nigga,
there's a standard as far as how the inches between them.
File formats, plugs in the wall. Like we can't have different. That's why we
very
got the
true.
same 3-prong.
Yeah.
Shit like that. So
wow,
it's only
that
for
was a great
things
point.
that have to be shared. We don't have to share each other's speakers or whatever, but we do have to share each other's files.
True.
I'm about to say,
be able to open it on each other's.
Literally to your point, one of the most
VSCs.
recent industry standard adoptions was stems.
What do you mean?
Think about it. The conversations we were having with our great guests that y'all will see, and even what we can't mention with the person you spoke with who recorded a bunch of stuff, even they said we weren't before like what 06 stems, sending out stems, the importance of sending out stems wasn't a thing.
That had to be like, all right, we got to do 16-bit. This is gonna be our for 48
crazy.
kilohertz, shit like that.
Yes,
so
you're absolutely right.
Shout out, we can say it. Shout out
Bob Horn.
Brian Malouf.
Oh, Brian, we talked about it with Bob Horn too. I remember.
Yeah, probably
And
with
him
Bob
too.
Horn too.
And him
but
too.
Brian really gave me a deep dive on like by the way, Brian Malouf wrote the requirements for Disney Records for how engineers were to send stems. Yeah. So he kind of put me on to like, he was like, yeah, he said it. He was like, we had to figure out like, okay, here's the standard for it. Shout out Brian Malouf.
So as much as there might be some pushback on the idea of having an industry standard, I do want to remind y'all that these wouldn't exist if there wasn't importance for it. For example, I know we hate how Spotify compresses our music or stuff like that, but
I don't like
there are thousands and thousands of records that get uploaded every day, and they have to get streamlined. So without some type of order, we could listen to a Jay-Z record that's super low and then a super loud XXX record.
Oh, like the normalization.
There has to be some type of medium where we could all meet at, and that's the purpose of industry standards.
I get it.
I love this conversation.
With that
this was a good conversation. I ain't gonna lie. This is a way better conversation than I even thought we were gonna have about that. Like that's a good convo. Like I ain't gonna lie. You ate with that ending.
Yo, he did.
You ate.
Did.
What's saying it's shared? I was like, yo, that's
it's only
so
for stuff we have to share.
You
we
ate that. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
for sure. Damn.
No, that was good.
About it like that.
But yeah, take us out. This is My Studio Nerds podcast. I just want to say it's My Studio Nerds podcast. You can take us out.
Podcast for Studio Nerds like yourself. Please don't forget to comment something nice for us so that we can give you a free copy of the HMD Rosetta EQ or compressor, and leave your @name as well. Also, become a member of the channel. You get early access to episodes. You get merch. You get free access to our Discord. You get prioritization in our live streams.
You can see LJ's personal writing pad to how he comes up with these dope lines.
That's not true. Damn. I keep
One
that
day.
on the low.
One day.
You lied. You lied. But yeah, yo, it's been real.